Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the Self in all beings. We begin today's satsang with a prayer by Srimati Sapna Ganesh. This will be followed by a chanting of Muktaka trayam by Revathi Shankar.
दक्षिणामूर्तिसारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमां रमणाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम् ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय. Namo Ramana to everyone.
एकमक्षरं हृदि निरन्तरं भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथं हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् ह्यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामच्युता वा पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम् देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्ततभावशुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं. Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Upadesa Saram by Uma Shripati.
नमो रमण इदमहं पदाभिक्यमन्वहम् अहमिलीनके प्यलयसत्तया विग्रहेन्द्रिया प्राणधीतमा नाहमेकसत् तज्जडं ह्यसत् सत्त्वभासिका चित्क्ववेतरा सत्तया हि चेत् चित्तया ह्यहम् ईशजीवयोर्वेषधीभिदा सत्स्वभावतो वस्तु केवलम् वेषहानता स्वात्मदर्शनम् ईशदर्शनम् स्वात्मरूपत आत्मसंस्थिति स्वात्मदर्शनम् आत्मनिर्द्वयादात्मनिष्ठता ज्ञानवर्जिता ज्ञानहीन चेत् ज्ञानमस्ति किं नातुमन्तरं किं स्वरूपम् इत्यात्मदर्शने अव्यया भवा अपूर्णचित् सुखं बन्धमुक्त्यतीतं परं सुखं विन्दति जीवस्तु दैविक अहमपेतकं निजविभानकं महदिदं तपो रमणवागियम् नमो रमण
Namo Ramana. We will be presenting a few songs from Ramananjali Sangeetam. The first song we will be presented by Srimati V. Radha. The second song will be presented by Savitri Krishnan and Jaisriram Krishnan. And the third song will be presented by Revathi Shankar.
Namo Ramana to all. Today I will be presenting a song written by Sri Meenakshi Sundaram. The music is by Srimati Sulochana Natarajan. Ramanaya namo, 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 அழகு குமரா ரமணாய நமோ சுந்தர புதல்வா ரமணாய நமோ அழகு குமரா ரமணாய நமோ சுந்தர புதல்வா ரமணாய நமோ திருச்சுழிவாலா ரமணாய நமோ மதுரை வாசா ரமணாய நமோ திருச்சுழிபாலாம் ரமணாய நமோ மதுரை வாசா ரமணாய நமோ ரமணாய நமோ ரமணாய நமோ ரமணாய நமோ ரமணாய நமோ चरणाम्बुयमे रमणाय नमो करुणारसमे रमणाय नमो चरणाम्बुयमे रमणाय नमो करुणारसमे रमणाय नमो अण्णामलया रमणाय नमो अरुणाचलने रमणाय नमो अण्णामलये रमणाय नमो अरुणाचलने रमणाय नमो रमणाय नमो रमणाय नमो रमणाय नमो रमणाय नमो अरुणाचलने 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 रमणाय नमो रमणाय नमो रमणाय नमो रमणाय नमो रमणाय नमो नमो रमणा
வந்தடைந்தவர் வல்வினை மாஷர எந்த நேரமும் மின்னருள் செய்பவன் வந்தடைந்தவர் வல்வினை மாஷர எந்த நேரமும் மின்னருள் செய்பவன் அந்த காராவீச்சை ஆவித்தொளே சுந்தரானன ஜோதிரமணனே அந்த காராவீச்சை ஆவித்தொளே சுந்தரானன ஜோதிரமணனே வந்தடைந்தவர் வல்வினை மாஷர எந்த நேரமும் இன்னருள் செய்பவன் பாதமே தோழும் பக்திமையோர்களுக்கு ஏதம் அகற்றிட இன்பமளிப்பவன் பாதமே தோழும் பக்திமையோர்களுக்கு ஏதம் அகற்றிட இன்பமளிப்பவன் வேதமாமுடி மீது விளங்கு சின்மோத நிர்மல மூர்த்திரமணனே வேத மாமுடி மீது விளங்கு சின்மோத நிர்மல மூர்த்திரமணனே வந்தடைந்தவர் வல்வினை மாஷர எந்த நேரமும் இன்னருள் செய்பவன் சேயின் நண்போடு சேவடி சேர்ந்திட தாயினும் மிக தன்னடி செய்பவன் சேயின் நண்போடு சேவடி சேர்ந்திட தாயினும் மிக தன்னடி செய்பவன் நாயினும் கடையேனது நச்சூளம் கோகிலா கூடி கொண்டரமணனே நாயினும் கடையேனது நச்சூளம் கோகிலா கூடி கொண்டரமணனே நின்மோத நின்பத மூர்த்திரமணனே சுந்தரானன ஜோதிரமணனே ஓம் நமோ பகவதே ஸ்ரீரமணாய.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. There are so many poets who have written on Bhagavan and so many music directors who have composed music for the songs written on Bhagavan and by Bhagavan also. Today we will be seeing a song written by Y.V. Venkateshwar Rao. He says, Arunachala is Tirupati, Ramana is Venkataramana. Tiruvannamalai is like Palani and Bhagavan is that Palani Andava. Many people have seen Bhagavan as Subramanya. But what does Bhagavan say? He says, look within and find out that you are the self. If you just close your eyes and look within inside your heart, then there he is in the form of the self. Sadhum Swami says, எந்த வடிவில் கருதிலும் அந்த வடிவில் தோன்றுவார். You see him as Shiva, he is there. You see him as Subramanya, he is there. You see him as Venkataramana, he is there. Dr. Sharda, the president of Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning, has written Shanmata Ramana. You see him as Ganesha, you see him as Devi, you see him as the sun. He is everything because he is the all-pervading one. But he is there in each one of our hearts, like Bhagavan says, Hariyadi itara jeevara dahavari jaguhail arivai rami paramatuman arunachala ramanan. He is there in every being's heart, shining as Arunachala Ramana. What does he do? He is the son of Dharma. Sundaramayyar was the personification of Dharma. So this is the son of Dharma. So he takes us in the path of Dharma. And many people have, many knowledgeable, learned Pandits have come to Bhagavan, including Ganapati Muni. What does it show? That we may have any number of tags around us, any number of labels around us, but our journey is to get back to the self and find out that we are the self and nothing else. Many people have come like Paul Brunton, Humphreys, Cohen. Without even asking their questions, Bhagavan has clarified their doubts. Not only foreigners, people from villages have also just come, stood in front of Bhagavan, and all their sorrows, all their questions have been answered. And with lot of love, Bhagavan, if you see his pictures, he sees us with lot of love because it's his nature. He doesn't put any effort to love anybody because his nature is love, his nature is compassion. And that sight and that look governs us. He is like the mother who shows love to all her children. If we say, I am yours, Dasa, I am your devotee, then how can he not protect us? How can he not give us the ultimate state of jnana? Bhagavan is the only one who is taking care of everybody in the world, in and out of the world also. Because when he has created every one of us, doesn't he know how to protect us? Doesn't he know how to give us that state, that ultimate state? Because his avatara is to give us that ultimate state. I present to you a song written by Y.V. Venkateshwar Rao. Kannada translation is by R.N. Gopal. Music is by Vijay Bhaskar. ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ ರಮಣನೆ ನೋಡು ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ. ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ ರಮಣನೆ ನೋಡು ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ. ತಿರುವಣ್ಣಾಮಲೆ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಳನಿಯಂತೆ ತಿರುವಣ್ಣಾಮಲೆ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಳನಿಯಂತೆ ಭಜಿಸಿರಿಯಂದು ರಮಣನ ಚರಣ. ತಿರುವಣ್ಣಾಮಲೆ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಳನಿಯಂತೆ ಭಜಿಸಿರಿಯಂದು ರಮಣನ ಚರಣ. ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ. ಅಂತರಂಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿತು ನೆನೆವೆವೋ ಅಂತಹ ಕಾಂತಿಯು ರಮಣರ ಬಿಂಬವೋ. ಅಂತರಂಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿತು ನೆನೆವೆವೋ ಅಂತಹ ಕಾಂತಿಯು ರಮಣರ ಬಿಂಬವೋ. ಧರ್ಮದೇ ನಡೆಯೇ ಗುರಿ ಸೇರಿಸುವ, ಧರ್ಮದೇ ನಡೆಯೇ ಗುರಿ ಸೇರಿಸುವ, ಧರ್ಮಾರ್ಥವನು ತೋರುವ ಗುರುವು ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ. ರಮಣನೆ ನೋಡು ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ. ಏನೇ ಓದಿದರೂ ಇನಿತು ತಿಳಿಯದೊಲು ಪಂಡಿತೋತ್ತಮರು ಪದಗಳ ಸೇರಲು. ಏನೇ ಓದಿದರೂ ಇನಿತು ತಿಳಿಯದೊಲು ಪಂಡಿತೋತ್ತಮರು ಪದಗಳ ಸೇರಲು. ಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲೇ ಸಂಶಯ ತೀರಿಸೋ, ಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲೇ ಸಂಶಯ ತೀರಿಸೋ ಮಹಿಮಾನ್ವಿತ ಗುರು ಸನ್ನಿಧಿ ಸಾಲದೆ. ಮಹಿಮಾನ್ವಿತ ಗುರು ಸನ್ನಿಧಿ ಸಾಲದೆ ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ. ರಮಣರೇ ನೋಡು ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ. ಪ್ರೇಮ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲಿ ನೇಮದೆ ಸೇವಿಸೆ ಮಮತೆಯ ತೋರೋ ಮಾತೆಯೇ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರು. ಪ್ರೇಮ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲಿ ನೇಮದೆ ಸೇವಿಸೆ ಮಮತೆಯ ತೋರೋ ಮಾತೆಯೇ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರು. ದಾಸನು ನಾನೇ ದಯೆಯನು ತೋರಿ, ದಾಸನು ನಾನೇ ದಯೆಯನು ತೋರಿ ಜಗವನು ಪೊರೆವರು ಭಗವಾನರು. ಜಗವನು ಪೊರೆವರು ಭಗವಾನರು ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ. ರಮಣನೆ ನೋಡು ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ ತಿರುವಣ್ಣಾಮಲೆ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಳನಿಯಂತೆ. ಭಜಿಸಿರಿ ಎಂದು ರಮಣನ ಚರಣ ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ತಿರುಪತಿಯಂತೆ. ರಮಣನೆ ನೋಡು ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ Namo Ramana. We will now have the self-enquiry session, which will be led by Shri Dileep Simha.
Namo Ramana. ध्यायेत् शारदचन्द्रसुन्दरमुखम् ताम्रारविन्देक्षणम् भक्ताभीष्टवराभरणम् वरदकरं कौपीनमात्रोज्ज्वलम् स्वात्मानन्दरसानुभूतिविवशम् सर्वानवद्याङ्गकम् श्रीमन्तं श्रीरमणीश्वरं गुरुवरम् योगासनाध्यासितं ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणीश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणीश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणीश्वरम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षातात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वत मज्जतव पवनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। Namo Ramana. We will commence today's evening Atma Vicharam by listening and meditating on Bhagavan's Upadesham. I will be reading his Upadesham from the book Guru Vachaka Kovai, from the chapter Meditation on the Truth. The topic is the destruction of the ego. Verse 844. Peace, which is authentic bliss, will not spring forth except in a heart from which the knot between consciousness and the inert body has been uprooted. Enquire keenly, therefore, and with sharp sword of Atma Vichara, cut off the ego, the misery-generating delusion. Repeat the verse. Peace, which is authentic bliss, will not spring forth except in a heart from which the knot between the consciousness and the inert body has been uprooted. Enquire keenly, therefore, and with the sharp sword of Atma Vichara, cut off the ego, the misery-generating delusion. In here, Bhagavan is asking us to cut off the ego. It is the Chit Jada Granthi, which is binding the consciousness to all the inert, starting from the ego, from the mind, that is I thought, to all thoughts. And we may call some of the thoughts as intellectual, therefore all, Bhagavan puts it all as thoughts only, to the body, to the world, which is all Jada. This ego is the one which binds the consciousness to this, and therefore creating misery. Whatever happens in the Jada, the consciousness assumes or feels as though it is happening to it. And therefore, that is the ego knot, makes it feel as though it is happening to it. Therefore, Bhagavan is asking us to cut that misery away. See, the truth is explained as Satyam Anantam. Satyam, Jnanam and Anantam. That means the truth has to be Ananta, infinite. But all of our effort in the sadhana is to experience that Anantata, that Ananta, with this Anta, this body. And therefore, how much ever we try to do this effort, we may feel that I am not experiencing that infinite. So therefore, it is important to understand that how does the infinite, which the Upanishads and all the great ones already always claim that it is Tattvamasi, you are already that. How is that Ananta became something limited? It is only because of the ego. That Ananta, which is always Ananta, appears to have become limited due to this I am the body idea. The reason is only in the objective way, in the objective form, when I identify myself with this body, I say that I am only in Bengaluru and therefore I am not in other place, Tiruvanamalai, I am not in America or some other place. Moment I identified with an object, with the body, then I feel that I have lost my anantata. I have become a limited object. Therefore, this ego knot, what it does to us is to be understood very clearly. Though we are the Ananta, because of this Chit Jada Granthi, because of this ego which binds us to an object, we seem to become limited. And therefore, holding on to that, how much ever sadhana we do, we mean holding on to that, I mean taking that to be oneself. When we take the body to be oneself, and then go on doing the sadhana, then it becomes like every time we feel that we are still in a limited entity, we are not experiencing the unlimited. Therefore, it is important for us to enquire. Bhagavan is saying here, enquire keenly, he says, with a sharp sword of Atma Vichara. Cut out all those things which are limiting us. So the idea that I am this body has to be cut off. Then, if I don't assume myself to be any object, if I don't limit myself to any object, whether it is in the form of a thought, whether it is in the form of a gross thing like the body, when I don't limit myself to anything, what would be my experience? Then the anantata, that infinite which we are, is automatically experienced. It is only when we confine that to an object, then we become limited. So the truth, Satyam, Gnanam, Anantam, Brahma, that is being said, the Anantata is the infinite, authentic bliss which we are not experiencing, is because of limiting ourselves to the body. Though the other two aspects, which is the truth, that is existence, and the Gnana, which is the consciousness, is something that we experience. I exist, I know. I am aware, I know. But this finite experience that I am having is because I am not cutting this ego knot, which is limiting me to an object. Therefore, Bhagavan is asking us to do Atma Vichara and then have that sharp sword to cut this limitation consciously. When we cut away this limitation, then that existence is experienced as infinite. That consciousness is also seen to be infinite or not limited by anything. And once the I am the body idea is also removed, one is experiencing oneself as the unlimited thing. There is no other. And therefore there is natural peace. That is the peace which Bhagavan is talking about, the sahaja, the natural peace. Not the peace of not having a thought, not the peace of keeping silent, but the natural sahaja that the Brahman is, the Atman is, the self is. naturally. Only the sadhana is to make sure that that infinite natural peace, which is what we are, doesn't get confined, doesn't get limited to an object. That is all the sadhana is about. To be diligently watchful, to ensure that truth which is very natural, that truth that we verily are, which is infinite existence consciousness, doesn't get limited to any object and therefore experience the misery. For that, Bhagavan has given us the Brahmastram, that is Atma Vichara. He says, no matter how many thoughts come, no matter what is the nature of those thoughts, whether they are good thoughts, bad thoughts, an ugly thought, or a spiritual thought, he asks us to see, inquire to whom is this, and therefore we recognize it is for me. That is, we identify ourselves with this body and the thoughts are happening in here. Therefore, he is asking us to recognize how the infinite, by attending to an object, has become now a finite, me, I. And he asks us to further inquire, who am I? By questioning that, the I thought, which is binding the consciousness to this body, by inquiring, what do I really refer to as I? When I really turn my attention to that which is what I am referring to as I, and abide there without attending to anything. There is no other object there to attend to. When that self attends to itself, it finds its infinite peace. It finds its infinite bliss as naturally it is. And that is the Nirantara sadhana that Bhagavan advises to keep on practicing until all this objectifying attitude and abhyasa that we have wrongly cultivated drops off, and that natural self, that natural peace rises or shines automatically. Until that time, Bhagavan asks us to diligently practice Atma Vichara. This abundant grace with which alone we have come to this most direct path. For the next 10 minutes, let us practice Atma Vichara. Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the presentation of the sharing of Jnana Vicharapadalam, Devi Kalotra Jnana Vicharapadalam by Dr. Kalarani Rengasamy.
ஓம் நமோ பகவதே ஸ்ரீ ரமணாய. அருணாச்சலம் என அகமே நினைப்பவர் அகத்தை வேறறுப்பாய் அருணாச்சலம். Namo Ramana to all. With the abundance grace of Bhagwan, we are meditating on Devi Kalotra Jnana Vicharapadalam, very graciously given to us by Bhagwan in Tamil. And in the last satsang, we saw Bhagwan saying, leaves, flowers, roots, even if they are for puja, purpose of doing puja, don't pluck them. வேர் எதுவும் தான் பிடுங்க வேண்டாம், இலையினையும் வேறுபடுத்தும் செயலும் வேண்டாம். Moreover, when no hatred or anger is shown towards the wild animals, they will also show friendliness. When Bhagwan was in Virupaksha cave, animals who were enemies by nature were sitting together in front of Bhagwan very calmly. A devotee had painted the scene very realistically. If I am not supposed to pluck flowers, then how will I do Shiva Puja? Bhagwan gives way even to that. சுயமாகவே உதிர்ந்த தூய மலர்கள் கொண்டே சிவனுக்கு பூஜை செய்க கடவன். That was the next stanza. Do Shiva Puja with flowers picked up from the ground which was already fallen from the tree or plant. By this, Bhagwan says, be kind to all. Show no discrimination in Ishvara's creation. Samatvame utru asai saruvamal. Normally, what's the attitude of mankind? When he looks at an ordinary vastu, ordinary object, he will not care for it. Actually, he will look down upon the object, isn't it? Say, for example, he is walking on the road and at a distance, he has seen something glittering. With great excitement, he walks fast to reach the spot. How many thoughts he will be having, imagine. He thinks that it must be gold only, or it must be a diamond. How costly they are. I must reach that place and get it, because someone else might also have aimed at it. So with full concentration, he is walking towards that glittering object. Many more thoughts comes in. He thinks, oh God, if I get that, I can repay my housing loan, which is of a long due, or I can make a jewelry for my daughter's marriage, or else I can use it for my son's higher studies. Suddenly, the thought of his wife comes in. What to do? Ultimately, whatever she says will happen. Why to waste my energy in thinking? Let me first get that object. He started running, and in few minutes, he was in that spot. He made sure no one is seeing him and leaned down and grabbed that object. When he saw it closer, immediately he threw it off. Why? Because it was not a gold piece, but a golden lead top of a soda bottle. For the past few minutes, he had a great respect for that object. Why? Because he thought it was gold or a diamond, and it will fetch him enough money, and he valued it a lot. Once he came to know it, it was an ordinary lead of a bottle. He threw it down because he thought there is no value for that. That is the attitude of mankind. But what Bhagavan says, a sadhaka must have samabhava with all the objects that he sees in the world. Samatvame utru asai saruvamal. When there is samabhava, there cannot be a desire on a particular object. I want that particular object because that is costlier, that is valuable. There will be no thought of that. When there is no desire, there will be no disappointment also when it is not attained. Bhagavan says, Suha dukkha sarvir samanai. Next Bhagavan says, Suha dukkha sarvin samanai. Likewise, in life, there will be happiness at one time and dukkha at the other time. The same event which gave happiness may not give the same happiness always. In economics, we have a diminishing marginal utility theory. They say, first apple consumed will give more happiness than the sixth apple. The happiness will diminish, will go on diminishing. If that was the Purana Vastu, the happiness would have been the same, isn't it? Bhagavan says, don't worry about that. Don't feel extraordinarily happy when happiness comes in. Likewise, when unhappiness or dukkha comes, don't feel very bad. Don't be dejected, make dejected. Learn to treat both sukha dukkha same. Sukha dukkha sarvit samanai. Next, the human attitude is when he meet his friend, his face will be so bright that they will be so excited and happy. At the same time, when he meets an enemy, either he will try to avoid the enemy or he will show his hatred or anger upon that enemy. But what Bhagavan has taught us, treat both of them equally. Your face need not shine like a 1,000-watt focus lamp while you see your friend, or like a red danger light signal looking at an enemy. Your face can always be a 100-watt ordinary bulb while looking at the friend or the foe. In fact, our great saints have shown gratitude towards person who have insulted them even. Nabigal Nayagam used to walk through a narrow street daily in the evening. An old woman used to throw a bucket full of garbages on him daily. He never mind. Once what happened? For 1 week, there was no garbages thrown on this person. He asked the people around that place why the old lady is not throwing anything on me. They said, she is very sick, Swami, and she is laying on the bed. Immediately what he did was, he went to her house and wished her for speedy recovery. Likewise, many instances are there in Bhagwan's life also. You all know about how he reacted when thieves came to ashram. These are all the teachings that we can learn from Jnani's life. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Ramanacentre by Sri Ujwal Jagadeesh.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Ramanam Gurum Namami, Ramanam Gurum Namami, Bhavajalanidhim Gaham Gaham Chiradalasan Padajalaruha Dvandvadipam Shritam Stava Samprati Ramana Bhagavan Kalyananam Niketana Pahinaha Satayadayaya Siktair Bhakte Bhaktana Panga Vilokitaihi Ramana Bhagavan Kalyananam Niketana Pahinaha Sadayadayaya Siktair Bhaktana Panga Vilokitaihi Ramana Guruvige Namana Ramana Guruvige Namana Bhavajaladiyalli Chirakaladinda Mulugi Mulugi Danidihevu Ninna Pada Jalajave Dvipaveradu Ashraisi Gabandihevu Ramana Devane Sakala Ulitina Nilayane Rakshisemma Dayaya Surisu Deenarige Ninna Kannanchina Notadinda Ramana Guruvige Namana Ramana Guruvige Namana Ramana Guruvige Namana Ramana Guruvige Namana. In these verses, Ganapati Muni says, O Ramana, we have been in this cycle, in this waves of birth and death, in this ocean of samsara again and again and again. And we are now tired. And we have come to you. Who are you? You are the two lotus island in this samsara sagara. You are the island in which we can find some rest. So we have come to your feet, and you are the award of all that is good. So it is your duty to shower your compassion on us with your side glance. O Ramana Guru Bhagavan, says Ganapati Muni. These verses have been beautifully set to Mishra Dvijavanti Raga. And when we think of Dvijavanti Raga in the Ramananjali Sangeetam, we have the famous Appala Pattu, which has been set to the Dvijavanti Raga by Srimati Sulochana Natarajan. Appalammittu paare attai shaapittu naashayai theere. Appalammittu paare attai shaapittu naashayai theere. Ippuvi tannil yengi thiriyamal satboda sukha satguruvaanavar sheppadu sonna தத்துவமாகியரோ புயர்வில் ஓயோர் மொழியின்படி அப்பளமிட்டு பாரே அப்பளமிட்டு பாரே. Bhagavan gave this Upadesha to mother in the form of the Appalam Patte. And in the Anupallavi he says, Ippu Vitannil Yengi Tiriyamal. We have been going around this world again and again and again, just like the waves of the ocean again and again, gushing towards the beach, towards the land and moving back. again gushing towards the land and again moving back. So this we have been doing eternally, chirakala. And by doing this on and on and on, we have got tired. And Ramana says, don't get tired of going round and round. Come to the lotus feet of Bhagavan, of Sadguru, and listen to the instructions that he is giving without speaking. That instruction of silence, hold on to it, and you will enjoy the bliss, the taste, the sweetness of the Atma Appadam. Make these Atma Appadam and you satiate all your desires, all your hunger, all your thirst will be gone when you taste this Atma Appadam, says Bhagavan Ramana. And Bhagavan Ramana showered his, not only he told this that don't go again and again in this world, and he prayed to Arunachala on behalf of the mother and on behalf of all the devotees, because mother being the first disciple of Bhagavan Ramana, who got the first Upadesha from Bhagavan, when Bhagavan wrote an answer to her question for her plea to come back home, Ramana told the Supreme, he is there and there in every place and makes everything happen according to the prarabdha of each one of us. So what is destined to happen will surely happen, and what was not ordained will not happen, whatever effort we may put. So the best course is to be silent, to listen to that silent Upadesha. Bhagavan, what is he telling this Dakshinamurti or Arunachala who is silent, is only reminding us to get back to our own true nature, which is actual silence and stillness. And Bhagavan, when mother was suffering from typhoid after her pilgrimage to Tirupati, she came to Ramana and she was critically ill with typhoid. And Ramana, taking care of her, wrote a prayer to Arunachala. Alayavare piravi attanayum matra malaya எழுந்த மருந்தே தலைவா என் தாய் கத்தியாய் வாழுமென் தாய் தாபம் மாற்றியே வாழ்வது கடனேயாம் கால கால உன் கமல பதம் சார்ந்த பாலன் என்னை ஈன்றாள் கால கால உன் கமல பதம் சார்ந்த பாலன் என்னை ஈன்றாள் பால் அந்த காலந்தான் வாராவகை உன் கால் வாரிஜமே காட்டுவாய் அந்த காலந்தான் வாராவகை உன் கால் வாரிஜமே காட்டுவாய் ஆராயீர் காலனுமேயாராயீர் காலனுமே யார் He says, the birds are coming like the waves of the ocean, like the alays, the waves of the ocean. Oh, Kala Kala, oh, the medicine of this Bhavaroga. Is it not your duty to cure my mother? Cure my mother of what? Not this illness of typhoid, but the illness of being born again and again and again. When we are talking about these births, it is not about the birth that we have to undergo one full lifetime. Ramana says each moment we are playing one role. Each moment we are doing one action. Each moment we are having one thought. So each moment we are playing, having a new life. Each moment we are having a new janma. The time when we arise as I am this identity, then we have attained one janma. So this janma is coming again and again and again, and it's so tiring. So Ramana says, oh Arunachala, are you not the medicine for this disease of Bhavaroga? Oh Kala, oh Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, are you not Kala, who won over death himself? You just kicked Yama on his chest and told, you don't come near my devotees. And Yama surrendered to you and told, oh Shiva, I will not come near your devotees. I will not approach them because your protection is there for them. Such a one Kala you are. How can the Kala, the Lord of Death, can come and torment my mother who has given birth to me? It is your duty to show your lotus feet so that my mother becomes immortal. And he ends with a question. If one inquires, what is this Kala? What is this death? With the inquiry, find out what is dead when you say somebody is dead. This is the inquiry that he did when he was a boy of 16 in Madurai and realized what dies is only this body. But we are not this body at all. We are that Shakti, that Avesham, that current, that force which is ever shining within me as I. He realized that truth as a boy of 16. When one inquires what is death, then he understands that death does not matter at all. Ramana is the one who is the abode of all goodness. It is not that he only has only good and bad is taken away. What with Ramana, everything becomes good. So even the death in the presence of Ramana, in connection with Ramana, it becomes a way to jnana. It becomes a way to self-knowledge. And one of the devotee asked in the Yaksha Prashna, which is there in the Mahabharata, Yudhishthira is asked a few questions by an Yaksha before he is about to drink the water from that kulam, that pond. And Yaksha asked this question, what is the wonder of this world? And Yudhishthira answers, the wonder of the world is every day we see people dying, but still each one of us lead a life as if the death is never going to come. Isn't this a wonder? Says Yudhishthira. And this is reported to Bhagavan Ramana. This is what we also think. It is so true that we all lead a life that our life is eternal. We are all immortal and we plan for today, tomorrow, 1 month later, 1 year later what I want to do, after 10 years what I want to do. So we have all these plans. Why do we have all these plans? Because we have this belief that we are immortal. But isn't it not a strange thing that we are seeing death every day and the death may come any day? Ramana told, yes, the truth is we are all immortal. That's why we have this strong faith that we will always remain. That is the underlying truth which we are manifesting as our faith in the eternal future. So Ramana made even the death into something so beautiful and so good and so kalyana, as Ganapati Muni calls, and he has prayed to Mother, and by praying to Mother he has prayed to all of us, to Arunachala, that this we are free from this disease of birth again and again, and we are filled with all the goodness And the true good is to get back to our own true nature, which is immortal, and to reveal us this path of getting back to our own true nature with the question, who am I? To question, when one dies, what is that which dies? With that enquiry, if one turns within and they abide in their own true nature, which is deathless. To reveal this truth, Ramana has come into our lives, and he has come into our lives. So he is called the Tangakkai. If Ramana has entered our lives, he has joined our team. So as a young boy, when Ramana used to join one team, that team always used to win. So Ramana has come into our lives to join our team. So the victory is guaranteed. So we don't have to worry at all and just hold on to this path which Ramana has shown, which he has shown without speaking. In silence, he is teaching us as the Guru within. Hold on to this truth, hold on to this path, he says, and he is blessing our path, and the success is guaranteed. To teach us this truth, Ramana has come into our lives. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Ramana Ashtottaram written by Radha Swami. This will be shared by Dr. Sarada.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. By the immense grace of the self, manifest as Ramana, we in this part of the satsang meditate on the namas, the 108 namas of Bhagavan, which are a litany. The 108 names are strung together as a litany, the Ramana Ashtottaram by Vishwanatha Swami. So we have been blessed to go through several of these namas, and we were meditating on the nama Triguna-tigaha, and followed by the nama Om Virupaksha Guhavasaya Namaha. So this is a very, very significant nama in the Ramana Ashtottara. In Bhagavan's life, we find the Virupaksha Guha years are very significant years, because in this period from 1901 to 1916, for 15 years, Bhagavan stayed in this cave, which is the Virupaksha cave on the hill. And the Virupaksha cave has the Samadhi. It has inside it the Samadhi of Virupaksha Devar. Virupaksha Devar was a great sage who was there in Tiruvannamalai on Arunachala. There are other sages like Guha Namah Shivaya, Guru Namah Shivaya, who have lived on the hill. And it is said that at the time of Virupaksha Devar's Samadhi, his disciples were fighting with each other as to who should take possession of his body after the Samadhi. So Virupaksha Deva, by his Yoga Siddhi, he merged into the Bhasma. He became sacred ash. And that sacred ash was there in the cave, and it was almost smeared or lying scattered in the cave. And it would be very, very powerful. And at the same time, it was open to being misused by miscreants. Because this we find in Bhagavan's story every now and then, right from his stay in Patalalingam, when the urchin boys would throw stones at him. So there is always this force of the negative, apparently the negative force. We just heard Ujwal Jagadeesh telling us that there is no such thing as the negative force. It is just all become one in Bhagavan. So everything is a good force. At the same time, it appears to us like black and white in relative terms. So these people, these miscreants, used to sometimes scatter that vibhuti, play around with it. They did not treat it with the respect that had to be given to it. We are told that Bhagavan put the vibhuti together and he molded it into a lingam. And today we find that the samadhi of Virupaksha Deva with the lingam, very beautifully made, very unique kind of almost like a small hilak, like an Arunachala, like a little Arunachala. We find that lingam on Virupaksha Deva's samadhi, and this is where Bhagavan stayed. And Bhagavan has himself composed a verse on Virupaksha cave. He says, Arupakshara porulin Annamalayam Virupakshanmayin Vilangum Virupakshamanguhai Avishanaha Manguhai Varanbaraye Tanguhayal Tayanalam Tan Ishan Ahamam Guhai. He says, this Virupaksha Guha is the very heart of Ishvara. So that is how he praises this Virupaksha Guha. The Virupaksha Guha at that time was taken care of by a mutt, and it was under the mutt authorities, and Bhagavan just stayed there. But now the Virupaksha Guha has been taken over by Sri Ramanasramam, and they are the caretakers of the Virupaksha Guha. In that Virupaksha Guha, Bhagavan stayed, and in the early years when he was staying there, 1901, we have a beautiful picture of Bhagavan taken 21 years old at that time, but he looks almost 15, 16, still very much like a sweet child. He looks in that, and that photograph was taken by some government photographer. He had come to Tiruvannamalai on an errand to take some pictures, and the divine plan of Arunachala, the divine gracious plan of Bhagavan allowed him to come up the hill, and seeing that glorious Bhagavan seated over there, he was obviously drawn to take that photograph, which we have the first photograph of Bhagavan taken in Virupaksha cave. In later years, we find Muni describing Bhagavan. He probably the first, that verse was composed by Muni, Ganapati Muni, in the first Jayanti that took place at Sri Ramanashrama 101 years ago. And there Muni says, Devi Shaktiriyam Dusho Shrutajana Dvantakshaya Daini Devi Shririyam Ambujaksha Mahishi Vaktre Sahasrachade. Mahalakshmi is simply dazzling with her beauty in the face of Bhagavan. He says, so beautiful. So we have thousands of photographs, or at least hundreds of photographs of Bhagavan taken, first started by that divine photographer, whoever he was on that divine task, and then later we have some pictures taken of Bhagavan and Mother, and a picture taken in Pachayaman temple, and then later years we have T.N. Krishnaswamy taking so many pictures of Bhagavan, and we have a few pictures which are very beautiful, powerful. The Mani's bust, they were taken by a devotee called Subramanyam, and of course we have the Belling portfolio taken by G.G. Belling. The maximum number of photos have been taken by T.N. Krishnaswamy, whose link with Bhagavan was through the photographs. And he says he never thought of anything else, just to take Bhagavan's photographs, he would come. And it was after Bhagavan's Mahasamadhi that he felt himself linked to Bhagavan's teachings and to the inner presence of Bhagavan. So that is what we find. The first picture taken in Virupaksha cave in the Virupaksha years. And in Virupaksha cave, Palani Swami was of course staying with Bhagavan, because Palani Swami had started staying with Bhagavan at Guru Murtam. And though on one occasion Bhagavan tried to indicate to Palani Swami that he should go away on his own, Palani Swami never did do that, and he continued to serve Bhagavan. We find that the last days of Palani Swami were in the Virupaksha cave, and Bhagavan came and sat with Palani Swami just as he sat for mother in the Virupaksha cave. And Bhagavan says that Palani Swami, though the force, the life force merged in the heart, but in the last moment it did not merge. That is what is reported as Bhagavan having said that. For very many years I used to feel a little even disturbed by this, thinking, oh, if the great Palani Swami, who served Bhagavan with so much devotion, would not hold the attention in this self, what of little beings like us? Then another great devotee, he said, it is not that Bhagavan was unable to give liberation to Palani Swami. That cannot be the case. How can it be? How can anything be impossible for Bhagavan? We just heard Ujwal talking about Bhagavan giving his mother liberation. Rather, he talked about the poem where Bhagavan prays for her liberation. But at that very point, Dr. Ambika Kameshwar says, at that very point when Bhagavan prays and asks, Shahati Muttuvarin Satru, at that very point, he has put his insignia that mother will get liberation. Then Palani Swami, why not? The great devotee who shared his thought with me, he said, you see, Bhagavan would have given him liberation, but if he did not, then in his scheme, he must have had some work for Palani Swami to do, some seva of Bhagavan in which he had to continue. So what does it matter? How does it matter whether the Divine Lord blesses us with the fullness, or whether he decides to allow the continuation of manifestation with the same surrender and love for Bhagavan? When one has love for Bhagavan the way Palani Swami had, Muruganath Swami in one of his compositions says, if you assure me, O Bhagavan, that I will be ever in the company of your devotees, then how does it matter whether I get another birth? That I am having birth upon birth also will not matter if I am always in the company of your devotees, singing your praise, just enjoying your blissful, beautiful life and your wondrous grace that is ever radiating from you, just wallowing in that grace. How will it matter? Will that be considered even to be a birth? Who is there then when one is lost in the bliss of Ramana? That is how Muruganath Swami has also sung. So we have the beautiful relationship of Bhagavan and Palaniswami unfolding further in the Virupaksha cave, and Palaniswami was one of the first batch of people who went out to seek Bhiksha for Bhagavan and other devotees who started staying with Bhagavan in the Virupaksha cave, and a few who visit regularly, like D.K. Sundaresha here would visit every day, Ramanatha Brahmachari would come every day, Vasudeva Shastri would come frequently, sometimes Jagadishwara Shastri would come. So many devotees would come there and enjoy Bhagavan's presence. This was 1901, and we know that Gambhiram Sheshayar came there and he got a lot of clarification for his questions. Bhagavan wrote out the answers for him on slips of paper, on a slate, or even sometimes on the ground, on the sand. Similarly, he answered Shiva Prakasham Pillai as well. The two treasures that we have from these devotees were born in the Virupaksha years. The book Self-enquiry, which is a record by Gambhiram Sheshayar, and Who Am I? A record by Shiva Prakasham Pillai. So the Virupaksha years, there is so much that we can dwell on Bhagavan's life in those years. By His grace, let us continue to dwell on these Virupaksha years. Om Virupaksha Guhavasaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Aksharamanamalai by Srimati V. Radha.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. கோபமில் குணத்தோய் குறியாயனை கொள குறையன் செய்தேன் அருணாச்சலா. கௌதமர் போற்றும் கருணை மாமலையே கடைக்கணி தாழ்வாய் அருணாச்சலா. சகலமும் விழுங்கும் கதிரொளியின மன ஜலஜமலர் தீடருணாச்சலா. சாப்பாடுன்னை சாதுணவாயான் சாந்தமாய் போவன் அருணாச்சலா. சித்தம் குளிர கதிரஸ்தம் வைத்தம் உதவையை திர அருள்மதி அருணாச்சலா. சீரையழித்த நிர்வாணம செய்தருள் சீரையழித்தருள் அருணாச்சலா. சுகக்கடல் பொங்க சொல்லுணர்வடங்க சும்மா பொருந்திடங்க அருணாச்சலா. சூது செய்தென்னை ஜோதி அதினி உன் ஜோதி ஒரு காட்டருணாச்சலா. செப்படி வித்தை கற்றிப்படி மயக்கு விட்டுருபடி வித்தை காட்டருணாச்சலா. சேராயனின்மை நீராயுருகி கண்ணீராற்றழிவேன் அருணாச்சலா. செய்யன தள்ளிர் செய்வினை சுடுமலர் உய்வகையேதுரை அருணாச்சலா. சொல்லாது சொல்லினி சொல்லரனில் என்று சும்மா இருந்தாய் அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ 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 அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ
अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचलं வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி அக்ஷரமணமாலை வாழி. நமோ ரமணா.
Namo Ramana. We will be concluding today's satsang with the Ashtottara puja. The Ashtottara puja will happen at Shri Dileep Simha's altar. The Ashtottaram will be chanted by Vaibhavji, Prarthana, Uma, and the Arati song will be sung by Revathi. We invite you for the next weekend celebrations at Ramana Maharshi Shrine. We will have the Shivaratri celebration on 8th Friday, 6:45 onwards till the 9th, 6 o'clock morning. 9th onwards we will commence Ramana Laksharchane. Sahasranama puja will be conducted. Sahasranama homam will happen on 10th of March, that is the Sthapana day. So 9th, 10th and 11th we will have the Laksharchane. All are welcome. Please gather in large numbers and let us all be part of Ramana's presence at Ramana Maharshi Shrine. We will conclude with the Ashtottara puja. Namo Ramana.
नमो रमण. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं रवीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि. ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः. ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः. ॐ गुरवे नमः. ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः. ॐ महौजसे नमः. ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः. ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः. ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः. ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः. ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः. ॐ कमनीय सुचारित्राय नमः. ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः. ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः. ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः. ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः. ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः. ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः. ॐ तीव्राय नमः. ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः. ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः. ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः. ॐ तपोमयाय नमः. ॐ उदासीनाय नमः. ॐ महायोगिने नमः. ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः. ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः. ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः. ॐ सुसन्द्रशे नमः. ॐ सवित्रे नमः. ॐ स्थिराय नमः. ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः. ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः. ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः. ॐ चूतवाक्यां समासीनाय नमः. ॐ चूडिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः. ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः. ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः. ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः. ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः. ॐ विराजदचलाकृतये नमः. ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः. ॐ पूर्णाय नमः. ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः. ॐ गम्भीराय नमः. परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिधाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः।
ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्री शोणाचलहृद्भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वामनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ हृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणात्मन्दमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणाद्रीशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः।
ॐ श्रीरमणभगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थाणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्या जनिं प्राप्य तद् दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीवहित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಹೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡು ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಘಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ महर्षि नमो महर्षि नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की
जय। नमो रमणा दिलीप।